One of the most bizarre and interesting news stories this year was the news that the state of Saudi Arabia allegedly tried to extort the richest man on earth, Jeff Bezos, with pictures of his extramarital affair. While the attempt ultimately failed, it makes for an interesting and precautionary tale. It all starts on April 4th, 2018. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon and the richest man on earth, is out having a nice dinner with a new friend, the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Let's take a quick look at the Crown Prince before we continue, because he's the main character in this story. Mohammed bin Salman is best described as the face of Saudi Arabia, having somewhat of a cool guy personality. This means he goes by the pretty badass nickname MBS and has a few cool photo ops. But MBS is much more significant than just a media man. He is first in line to succeed his father, King Salman, for the Saudi throne, and is widely suspected that his persona is to make the world more accepting of Saudi Arabia as a place to invest. In fact, MBS's meeting with Bezos was a stop on a 3-week tour of America seeking increased investment in the Saudi state. But back to Bezos and MBS's meeting. We don't really know what they talked about, just that they ended up exchanging WhatsApp numbers. From all the evidence we have, it looks like a completely innocent meeting between two of the richest men on earth. But it starts getting weird on the 1st of May of 2018, about a month after Bezos and MBS exchanged numbers. On that day, MBS sends Bezos an unprompted promotional video about Saudi Arabia via WhatsApp. Not a real cool move. That's something my uncle would do. But even less cool is that that video file turns out to actually contain an encrypted downloader from some spyware, which quickly inserted itself on Mr. Bezos' iPhone. This spyware quickly starts transmitting information from Bezos' phone to what is assumed to be Saudi Arabia without anyone observing. This went on, unbeknownst, for several months until MBS had a motive to start blackmailing Bezos with the information he got from Bezos' phone. So what was this motive? Well, remember the Jamal Khashoggi assassination in 2018? Let's run through that real quick. Jamal Khashoggi was a vocal critic of the Saudi regime and a journalist for the Washington Post. On the 2nd of October of 2018, Khashoggi was lured to the Saudi Arabian embassy in Turkey, where a hit squad of around 15 Saudi Arabians assassinated him. By the way, the full assassination details are pretty insane, but that's for another video. Following this incident, Western media and public opinion shifted heavily against Saudi Arabia. Somehow, Bezos became a key player in this incident. How did this happen? Well, Bezos is the owner of the Washington Post, the publication which employed the late Mr. Khashoggi. Moreover, the Washington Post remained heavily critical of the Saudi regime following the incident. All of this criticism of the Saudi regime was not going over well for Saudi Arabia. It was seriously threatening to affect investment. Given the Washington Post had a special voice in fueling this fire as they had employed Khashoggi, if the Saudi Arabians could somehow get their coverage to cease or slow down, it would be very advantageous. Blackmailing the Post's owner, Jeff Bezos, using private information obtained from their spyware on his phone would actually seem like a pretty good idea. The question now is what MBS and the Saudi state could use to blackmail Bezos with. Bezos is, from what I could find, not a very interesting person. The most interesting thing I found is that he wants an iguana. But there was one thing that could be used for blackmail. Bezos was having an affair. We don't know exactly when the affair started, but throughout 2018, Bezos had been hooking up with former television anchor Lauren Sanchez. The National Enquirer broke this story in January 2019, even claiming it had nudes of Bezos as well as numerous salacious text messages between the two lovebirds. Soon after this media circus, Bezos' wife of 25 years, Mackenzie Bezos, filed for divorce and promptly became the third richest woman on earth, making off with $35 billion. The larger question here was how this story got out. Officially, the National Enquirer claims it got this scoop from Lauren Sanchez's brother, Michael. He's the one in the Chanel purse, by the way. But Bezos was not buying this explanation, as Bezos knew certain foreign officials knew about this affair months before the story broke. In particular, the Saudi Crown Prince MBS seems to have certainly known and tried to use this information against Bezos. MBS had sent several messages to Bezos via WhatsApp, hinting that he knew private information about Bezos. The best one, by far, was a meme he sent to Bezos on November the 8th, 2018, about a month after the Jamal Khashoggi assassination. Well, I don't have a better image of the meme. The meme features a picture of this woman and the text, arguing with a woman is like reading the software license agreement. In the end, you have to ignore everything and click agree. But what would really have scared Bezos was that the woman in the picture looks almost identical to Lauren Sanchez, who he was having an affair with, which no one should have known about. This is some next level messing around with MBS. Hats off to him. Given that MBS had been spying on Bezos' phone for months, that this meme directly referenced that he knew Bezos was having an affair, and that Bezos, via the Washington Post, was being openly anti-Saudi Arabian, MBS had both the means and the motive to use Bezos' affair against him. Soon, Bezos received an actual blackmail attempt. According to a blog post made by Bezos himself on Medium, he was contacted, both verbally and by email, in early February 2018 by AMI. This company owns the National Enquirer, and Bezos alleges that they are close to the Saudi state. When reached out to, Bezos attests it was made clear to him that either he scaled back the Washington Post investigations in Saudi Arabia, or else his affair, including nudes of himself, would be released to the public. Instead, Bezos, within a day, wrote this blog post, which in essence confirmed the affair, but also the extortion attempts. In many regards, I do respect Bezos to do this. As Bezos wrote in the post, of course I don't want my personal photos published, but I also won't participate in their well-known practice of blackmail, political favors, political attacks, and corruption. I prefer to stand up, roll this log over, and see what crawls out. And soon afterwards, Bezos began conducting a thorough investigation on how his private information got out. His iPhone was sent to a cybersecurity firm, and the spyware was discovered. This information was released to the public a month ago. As we saw, Bezos was able to resist being blackmailed. However, the Saudi Arabians still found other ways to attack him, mainly through a massive anti-Bezos campaign, which saw the spread of many hashtags, including ones reading "Boycott Amazon." But recently, other people and institutions have been starting to pay attention to the Saudi Arabian actions and hacking. In 2020, several UN experts were calling for an investigation into this incident, citing this as just one attempt by the Saudi state to silence foreign media. We will have to wait and see how much of an effect this will have. Perhaps the most scary aspect of this case is that we only know about this because the Saudi Arabian blackmail attempt did not work on Bezos. Given how easy it was for MBS and the Saudi state to install spyware on Bezos' phone, it is not insane to wonder how many other rich and famous individuals and leaders are being clandestinely watched by the Saudi state. If the richest man in the world fell victim to this, there are bound to be others, and these people may have even been successfully blackmailed.